Hello everybody, it's Josie here and happy holidays. As you can see, I have my tree up. I've got my Christmas jumper up because it is the season, I think. And today I'm going to be talking about one of my, if not the most anticipated release of the year for me, which has come very late in December, or end of November, as a release. And it's a book that I've really been looking forward to. Second book in a series. The book I'm talking about is Girls of Storm and Shadow by Natasha Ngan. I read the first book, which is this lovely book over here, Girls of Paper and Fire, and absolutely loved it. So was literally dying to know what happens in the series, where it goes, and what happens to the characters. So I'm just going to recap this book if you need a recap or you don't know what the series is about. So Girls of Paper and Fire is set in a fantasy realm. It's a fantasy series. It is also, I would say, just right from the onset, a very hard-hitting topic. So what the premise of the story is that you have a demon king and you have three castes of kind of people in this world. So you've got the moon caste, who are full demon. You've got the steel caste, who are sort of part demon, part human. And then you have the paper caste, who are humans. And humans are obviously very much subservient and kind of seen as weak in this universe. And the Demon King, every year, he picks a group of paper girls. Essentially, these are concubines for the king's pleasure. Some of these girls will go willingly and might see this as an honor, but then a lot of them don't. And a girl is chosen, Lay, who definitely does not want to be the king's concubine at all. And this first book revolves around that of being taken to this castle and what happens to these girls, and also of Lay wanting to free herself. What I also love about the series is just the queer female love story is beautiful. Lay and Ren, who is one of the other paper girls, there's a beautiful love story between them in this first book. So I was very, very much looking forward to seeing where this book ended, on a pretty dramatic scene, where the next book, Girls of Shadow and Storm and Shadow, was going to pick up. So I wonder if I can do this without spoiling. Well, okay, so let me say, if that sounds interesting and you want to read the first book first and you haven't read it yet and then read the second one, maybe go away and come back, because obviously when I talk about the second book, it's going to spoil kind of what happens at the end of this one. So, okay, so go away now if you don't want to know, but if you do, and if you've read this one and you want to kind of know my opinion on the sequel, stay tuned. Okay, so sequel, Girls of Storm and Shadow. So this one, I will say from the onset, I think it suffers a little bit from sort of middle book syndrome. And what I mean by that is, in the first book, you had this setup of the world, you got to know these characters, you had this kind of, you never knew, I mean, for me, you were really kind of with Lay and Ren, and you didn't know if they were going to get out of this, and you didn't know what was going to happen, and how they were going to, extricate themselves from this situation, and there was a lot of intrigue, and there was a lot of fast-paced, there was that build-up, that beautiful build-up of the romance between the two of them, and them falling in love. In this book, so where Girls of Paper and Fire ends is you've got the ball and Lay and Ren go to kill the Demon King and they escape. So this book basically picks up where they're on the run, essentially. They're trying to get together. So the main premise of this book is that they are, on the run from the Demon King, because the king and these forces are chasing Lay and Ren because they want revenge and they want to kill them for what they did to the king. But you also have this other story where we found out in book one that Ren's father is trying to mobilize an army against the king, and they're basically going around and trying to get allies from these different castes and different classes. They're going to kind of like the bird people and the kind of the cat people, and they're trying to, I say people, demons, castes, steel castes, moon castes, and they're trying to make allies basically to rise up against the Demon King and his forces. So that's really what this book is about, and I think that's the trouble. You're following them on the run, on their journey. This whole book is them on that journey. It's them meeting, trying to make different allies. So I think in that sense, it suffers from a lack of that much substance going on as you had in the first book. But I didn't mind that. It was still, I mean, it's still kind of moving the story along. I see where Natasha Nagant is going, obviously setting you up for that final book and that kind of final clash, and that, we're assuming is going to be sort of the final battle. What I did love about this book was some of the relationships in it. So we further explore Leigh and Ren's relationship, and there are some, I'm not going to spoil them, but there's some revelations in here and how they grapple with that. And I loved kind of seeing that relationship. I loved some of the periphery characters, and there were some times when my heart was a little bit broken with those ones. So I thought that was really good. So I liked more the character kind of study in this, and I liked, like I said, I liked Ren and Leigh's, the continuance of their relationship. But was it as good as the first one? No. But then, is the middle book in a series ever the best one? I would argue, no. I don't think I've ever read a middle book in a series and thought, wow, that was the best one, definitely. So, where the first one is like a 5-star read, this is still a 4-star read for me because I love this world. I love these characters. And, I love it. But this is more of a 4-star read for me. And maybe that's tiny but generous, but no, I love the world. And like I said, I love the characters. For me, it's still a 4-star read. Definitely, obviously, if you love the first one and you want to see how the series progresses, definitely read it. But all I'm saying is that this was good, but I'm really now looking forward to the last book in the series and seeing how this kind of concludes and how, I guess, the battle between the Demon King and Leigh and, possibly her allies will play out in the final book. There you go. So those are my thoughts. Still one of my favourite series. Love it. It's great. First, and these covers. How gorgeous are they? But yeah, middle book syndrome, unfortunately. So let me know if you've read the series, if you've read these 2 books, what you think of them, and any recommendations based on this or what I like, always welcome. And have a great rest of your day. I will speak to you all again very soon. Bye-bye.